Okay, so I want to hit you up with a little thought experiment. It's called the Infinity Library, and the Infinity Library is this concept of this metaphorical, library that's literally infinite. It's full of books that are either blank or they actually they're they actually have words in it, anything in between, from something completely random with no words in it, or a bunch of gibberish, to something that is actually something you might see in this world. And in fact, and within that library you will see, just because of the fact that it's infinite, there's an infinite amount of possibilities. Within that infinite amount of possibilities, you see any book you see in this life, you see in that book. Not only that, you probably see books that you never see in this life in that library, like things that would tell you about your life or even your future, that we would predict your future and stuff like that. Now, this is a very interesting, fascinating concept, because it presents a very interesting, uh, shall we say, it presents a very interesting reality to us. Because we know infinity is a real concept. We can talk about it. There's mathematical concepts that are like STEM, like are infinite or infinitesimal by nature. And these are the you know these are the things we use to calculate, you know concepts in physics and whatnot. Infinite, these numbers that go stretch out for infinity. So we can fathom a concept of infinity. I mean, we can't fully grasp it, but we can talk about it, right? So we know there is an idea of infinity, and so they can, the whole idea of forever. That's something we understand. Whether something's infinite or not, whether that's possible, is not the question, because this presupposes the universe at its fabric, it's infinite. Something within the fabric of the universe is infinite, whether this universe or not is infinite. Now, this concept of infinity library comes from something from old Hindu folklore. Actually, it's not even a Christian or biblical concept. So I don't want you to think I'm trying to take this as I don't want you to think I'm being like completely brainwashed or narrow-minded in what I'm trying to explain here. But yeah, the Hindus talked about something called Akashic records, which is the same idea of this infinity library. There's somewhere the gods have access to this library that this stretches on for infinity, and it can get any book. Now, the best way to visualize this infinity library, or Akashic records, best way to visualize this is actually something that they've already emulated for us in that movie Interstellar. If you guys ever have the time, just go search up that final scene in that movie Interstellar, where Matthew McConaughey goes into the black hole. That should not be possible. I don't know how you can survive spaghettification. They're presupposing there's some kind of advanced civilization that managed to help us make that that journey, or make Matthew McConaughey make that journey. But inside of the black hole, he eventually got to the center of this black hole, and inside that black hole, he was in the middle of this library. I mean, this had. I mean, I'm not sure if this is like specific to what they're trying to portray, or maybe it's just like for sake of plot. But so right now, some of you might be wondering, like, bro, I thought you were a Christian. What does all this has to do with Christianity, or what are you really trying to tell us? Like here's the kicker. Like, you're right. Here's the catch. Here's what I'm really trying to get at. See, the thing is, in the Bible, believe it or not, get this. There's three different individuals that had they had the same vision, basically. They all had a vision of God sitting on his throne with four angels, around his throne, and each of these angels had different appearances. One had the face of an ox, one had the face of an eagle, one had the face of a lion, and one had the face of a man. Now, why is this interesting? Okay, first person who had that vision was Ezekiel. This dude had this vision like centuries before Jesus even existed. This didn't never seen Jesus with his own eyes physically, or none of his apostles, and he never heard of the gospel neither, right? Then there was another prophet who had the same vision, you know, about that throne room with the four figures, four angels around that throne room. And it's not, to me, it's not too much worth mentioning, because, like, the one can make an argument that he's just simply just regurgitating something he, read before him. But here's the kicker: no one really understood what those full figure angels, or what their real role was, or how real that was, and like the reality of this throne, what it really signified. And here's the thing: the last person that had that same vision was John, one of the apostles. He had the same vision around of the throne room, and before he had revelations given to him. And here's the thing: apparently, the four gospels of the New Testament all present Jesus differently. One presents God as an ox, one presents God as a lion, one presents God as an eagle, one presents God as a man. And this is crazy, because that means those four angels were represented the four gospels of the New Testament. They represented those four apostles with those four gospels. And those gospels did not exist yet when Ezekiel or Isaiah had that vision. I mean, John was barely exiled, and the writings of the New Testament were barely, coming to fruition. So this kind of blows your mind to think that, like, the four gospels existed before. They existed before, hundreds, thousands of years before they were even made. Yeah, so this supposed infinity library, these Akashic records exist. Theoretically, it should exist, because infinity is a real thing, right? At least in mathematics or in information. And this is only pertaining to, it's talking about books, it's only pertaining to information. So according, if infinity library exists, then these four gospels have to exist within this infinity library in the Akashic records, which would mean that somewhere in this library of infinity, these, before any, like even if there was no Christians or nothing, these books would exist. You see, and this would mean in so many ways that it's true what they say, that the gospel isn't entirely written by man. It's inspired by God, or this divine providence of this, and it would exist within this realm of infinity and infinite information, with, and that would, that kind of means, like, even a universe without, if you believe in a universe without a God, if you believe in infinity before the Big Bang or whatever, like, here's the logical conclusions that you have to make. Infinity is real. If everything started off from infinity, right? Whether it's like, that would allow for an infinite amount of possibilities, and we're just living in the one of the possibilities, right? There could be anything existent within this infinite realm of possibilities, right? And within this infinity, there would be a universe, right, with this information, with the Bible, where things are being prophesied, like the Gospels being prophesied to happen. Jesus prophesied to happen. There is a book that inside this whole realm of infinity that is the Bible, and it's kind of mind blowing just to think about, because, like, that means even if you didn't believe in God, and believed in, like, this infinity as a source instead, which I believe God is infinite anyway. So I mean, like, I'm just stretching the argument for people who don't believe. You know what I'm saying? Even if you didn't believe in God, you would still have to come to the conclusion, especially if you lived in this reality, you would still have to come to the conclusion that Jesus is King. There's, like, literally no way around it. You know what I'm saying? That's just using the mathematics of infinity itself. You can't run to infinity to run from God. God's too big for that.